Hello everyone, welcome back to Touch the Fire Twice. I'm Joshua, and I'm here today to do an in-depth sniff and comparison review of the latest two drops from Bath & Body Works limited edition ice cream shop candle collection, and that is of the Rosewater and Ivy and Vanilla Bean and the Mint Chocolate Chip Milkshake candles. But first, if you are new to Touch the Fire Twice, welcome. My mission here is to share my love and passion for fine home fragrance as an enthusiast, an educator, a reviewer, to inspire you to increase your own fragrance knowledge and understanding, ultimately enhancing the scent memories that you create. If you want to learn more about what I do, why I do it, how I do it, you can check out my website at TouchTheFireTwice.com. Follow me over on Instagram or TikTok, both at TouchTheFireTwice. For now, let's dig into these candles. Be sure to check out my first video from the limited edition ice cream shop candle collection drop from March 2023, which included the peanut butter and jelly ice cream candle, as well as the limoncello and unicorn sprinkles candle. But today we are getting into the Rosewater Ivy Vanilla Bean and Mint Chocolate Chip Milkshake. In this case, we have one new and one vault release. A lot of opinions that mostly I think I agree with on a weird mix of these four fragrances being the ones that Bath & Body Works chose for this limited edition ice cream shop candle drop. Really fun packaging, great art direction, good idea for late spring months, but executed poorly as far as the fragrances and blends, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinions. Peanut butter and jelly ice cream was nice, is nice, but doesn't really smell like ice cream. Doesn't really smell much like peanut butter, just a little bit. Overall, a nice candle, but not exactly what the name says. And the limoncello and unicorn sprinkles really doesn't smell anything like ice cream whatsoever. It more so smells like kind of a citrusy bubblegum confectionery candy, which is nice if that's what you're looking for, but it's not an ice cream shop. Confectionery candy, sure, but not ice cream shop. And I'd say it ends up being kind of a similar story with these two. So this is a post-burn review, at least for the Rosewater and Ivy and Vanilla Bean candle. I purchased two of these. I'll be sniffing the other one for this review just because once it is burned once or twice, obviously I can talk about the scent when it was burning, but it does take on a little bit different character compared to a fresh unburned candle. And because I will also be doing a comparison review, I want to get the most accurate representation of the fragrance in here. So let's talk first about Rosewater and Ivy and Vanilla Bean. Again, as I said in the first video, great art direction here, really fun, these little sprinkles. It's well designed. It is cartoony and cutesy, but it's not overly kiddie or amateur. There's more so just like a really nice novelty aspect to it, which I don't mind because that still feels, I don't want to say elevated or sophisticated, not that I need that, but it does feel better than just, some design that doesn't have much thought behind it. This has a fair amount of thought. We got the really glossy white lid. You have this label here with the little limited edition kind of gold seal there. You have the cursive there, the mark if this is new or vault, and just the cohesion of all four of the candles in the collection having this sprinkle wrap around with the embossed shiny sprinkles here. So really nice art direction. When it comes to the fragrances, let's talk about Rosewater and Ivy and Vanilla Bean. I'm a fan of Rosewater and Ivy candle. I think it's a really nice approachable rose, not overly powdery. The Ivy brings in just a little bit of green to make it a bit fresher versus a powdery, perfumey, granny floral that rose sometimes can do for some folks. It's a nice candle. I enjoy it. I burned one or two here and there. Not one that I need every season, but I'd say a really nice rose that makes sense that it's in their White Barn Core collection. Vanilla Bean, in general, a pretty nice vanilla bean. Much more towards your gourmand, almost like a vanilla bean ice cream, almost milky, borderline between a whipped vanilla marshmallow or a vanilla custard. But it is a nice, I'd say, decently authentic vanilla scent. So putting them both together to get an ice cream fragrance made sense. The Ivy part, I was a little bit like, I don't know if Ivy makes the most sense. Now, I like some ice cream flavors that some folks would think are weird, maybe, like olive oil and basil flavored ice cream and things that are a bit more savory. But Ivy, that's a little weird. It's kind of like they could have chose maybe the rose meringue candle or something to make a little bit more sense of something more gourmand and or edible than Ivy. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter because, as you may have seen in other reviews or when you've sniffed this candle, this is not Rosewater and Ivy, nor is this Vanilla Bean. Now, the notes on it claim vanilla marshmallow, soft rose petals, and rain-kissed English ivy. Now, getting my nose on this, it smells nothing like the Rosewater and Ivy candle. It smells nothing like the Vanilla Bean candle. Knowing that we all mostly are aware of these two candles, what they smell like, in a blend, they might be a little bit different, 60-40, 70-30, a little something added, a little something removed, as we've seen in the blends collection in the past. It's not always a perfect, even split of those two fragrance blends put together, But in this case, there's nothing from either of those, in my opinion, and I think in many other people's opinions. Now, when I bought two of them because I thought I might like them because I was wearing a mask in the store when I sniffed these, but I sniffed it and I thought, oh, maybe there was just something I wasn't fully getting through the mask and the rose would come out when I burned it. That's why I bought two. I actually think I'll probably end up returning both of these. I very, very rarely will burn a candle and return it, only maybe one time, or if it ends up being a terrible performer, you know, a quarter of the way or less through. This actually wasn't a great performer. After 2.5 hours, there actually is a little bit of a cliff of wax here that didn't fully pull out. There was no real reason for that to happen. That doesn't happen often for me with Bath & Body Works candles that are evenly wicked. As you can see, this is kind of well-spaced wicks. Sometimes nowadays you get a wonky wick that's way far to the side from the other two. This one's pretty even because I always recommend checking your candles in store to make sure you get ones that are really kind of that even triangle pattern, evenly spaced from each other and the edge of the glass for a consistent and even pool. Sniffing this, it really just smells like candy, fruity berry candy. I know some folks say rose comes out for them. I really didn't get rose. And we've seen rose in even gourmand. Think, of course, Pink Petal Tea Cake, the classic fragrance. It is sweet. It is almost nectary, syrupy, vanilla, a bit cakey, but you get true rose. Rose is a very dominant note in any form, even just rose water versus, you know, the rose petals, the rose oil, all of that. But you don't really get that in here. I'd barely get any sort of floral, let alone the classic rose that we can all blind sniff and identify nearly immediately. It's kind of like sugared berries meets artificial strawberry, maybe just berry candy. The vanilla in there, I mean, I'm not getting vanilla bean. I'm not getting a creamy vanilla marshmallow. I'm not getting a marshmallow fragrance. Barely a vanilla fragrance to this. If anything, it's almost like, this is a weird random throwback, and I don't even know if they still make these, but when I was a kid, there of course were Tootsie Rolls, but then there were the fruity Tootsie Rolls. I don't even know, I think they were just called Tootsie Rolls, but there was like, I don't know, like a lime flavored Tootsie Roll and vanilla. And I remember the vanilla was white wrapper, white Tootsie Roll with blue labeling on it. And it was vanilla Tootsie Roll. And I kind of liked it, but it's kind of like, you know, white chocolate versus regular chocolate where it's just kind of thin and weak and just is very sugary sweet. And that's the only kind of vanilla maybe I would get in here, like a candy vanilla, like if you had a candy sucker or lollipop that was vanilla flavored, which isn't super common because it just doesn't translate all that well to something that's just candy sugar. There needs to be a creaminess to vanilla in most gourmands, and there just is barely any creaminess to this. There's nothing in here that really says rose, and so it's disappointing because it's just a mistake or a lie that this is rosewater and ivy and vanilla bean. And why do that? Because we all know what these two candles smell like, and this doesn't smell like either one of those. And if you burn those two side by side, it would smell nothing like this super sweet candy, strawberry, almost grape-like, sugared berry, artificial vanilla flavoring scent. So this is a disappointment. It's a missed opportunity to go out there a little bit and make something kind of unique gourmand with some rosewater. And just a total flop, in my opinion. I do have a couple I want to do my comparison review to before I get over to the mint chocolate chip milkshake. I know that some reviewers, Kent from the Candle Channel included, have said that this may be a near repackage of the Pink Fairy Gumdrop or the Be Mine Valentine's candle. I actually, when I've sniffed those, I haven't liked them, haven't purchased them, so I couldn't say for sure. When I smelled that, I didn't immediately get that just because those are candles that when I have smelled them, I didn't like and passed on purchasing them. But I certainly trust Kent's nose and others who have said that, so I imagine that's possibly what this is. But for me, there were two candles from way back when, we're talking probably 2012, 2013, where this actually does smell quite similar to it. Of course, a lot of folks won't remember these, but as I always try to do some sort of comparison with my Bath & Body Works reviews, I wanted to go into my vault to pull these two out. The first one being Gelato from the 2013 Italian collection, which if you really want to go back in my archives, you can watch my original haul of that collection here from 2013 test store back in Jersey. And it was a really cohesive collection with a lot of fragrances, some really, really nice ones in there, espresso bar, Tuscan herbs. There were a handful of candles that were beautiful in there, some weird ones like Pizzeria. Just across the board, a truly cohesive collection, great labels, simple, clean packaging, and some interesting scents, some of which have come back, some of which have not. Gelato, I kind of liked it at the time, although I guess not that much since I've only burned that much of it from 10 years ago. A creamy sweet blend of raspberry and strawberry with an effervescent spun sugar finish becomes the perfect fragrance indulgence. Bravo, bravo. And sniffing it, again, it's funny, this was supposed to be an ice cream candle, Gelato. And I would not be surprised. It's a weird one to go back in the vault to get, especially when they call it new. But these are exceedingly similar. I'm getting a little bit more of a sweetness from the rosewater ivy vanilla bean than this, but we're talking a candle that was burned 10 years ago and has not been burned probably in 9 or 10 years, so gonna be duller smelling until I were to light it again. But when I think of the notes, raspberry, strawberry, effervescent, spun sugar finish, that's really what my nose was getting with this rosewater ivy vanilla bean, which I hate to even call it that because it's not. Berries, strawberry, raspberry, some spun sugar, you could call it vanilla sugar, but more effervescent or sparkling or crunchy spun confectionery than creamy gourmand, let alone ice cream, which also was sort of the issue with gelato. There was no note of ice cream in here or cream or vanilla or anything that would make it a gelato. So really similar to that. And then also a little similar to another one from that collection, which at the time I really, really did like this one, Bellini Cafe, which read, "The Italian love of life is captured in a blend of sparkling berries, juicy apple, and sugared grape notes. Bellissimo." For me, this reminded me of Pink Sangria, which if you remember, like 2009, 2013, Pink Sangria was a fragrance Slack & Co that came out pretty regularly in sort of your spring to summer tropicals as a, not really a wine base, but just a fruity tropical beverage. And this was quite similar to that because of the berries, the sparkling note, and the sugared grape. Sugared grape is a great descriptor, like literally if you just had, say, a frozen grape and rolled it in very, very fine sugar. And there's almost, with this, I will say with the Bellini Cafe, a little bit almost actually of sort of a champagne or Prosecco note, which could be just from the grape. But so this one's not quite as similar to rosewater ivy vanilla bean as the gelato, but the similarities are within the fact that we're talking sparkling, we're talking berries, sugar. I think that's what my nose is picking up on these ones, and that I'm getting from this one, confectionery candy. And the Pink Fairy Gumdrop candle has notes of sparkling sugared berries, pink cotton candy, and I almost don't want to say the last note because it's so stupid, sprinkle of fairy dust. Okay, so makes sense that that's probably what this is, and that is probably quite similar to either the Bellini Cafe or the gelato candle. So what a miss. I think most people are probably, you're nodding along with me. Maybe you like the scent, maybe you like those scents. That's fine if you do. It's not for me, and it's certainly not a new fragrance in a limited edition, run to the store ice cream collection. Just so weird. The marketing of Bath & Body Works doesn't always make sense. Anyway, moving on to the next candle, which I actually do enjoy, the Mint Chocolate Chip Milkshake with notes of mint ice cream, chunky chocolate chips, and whipped cream. Now this one is, as they say, a vault fragrance, or returning from the vault. I know that this came out, I think, in the same name as Mint Chocolate Chip Milkshake, though for me it's very similar to the variation of chocolate mint chocolate. I actually don't have any of the mint chocolate variations from over the years because I burned them a couple of times. Typically not always my favorite. I would just buy one and maybe burn it for the season. But I first had it in probably 2010 with Slack & Co. Then it came back with an ice cream logo in 20-something or other. And then it often came back for maybe 4 or 5 years in a row around Candle Day when they dropped their sort of merry festive collection that usually had creamy nutmeg, cranberry pear Bellini, chestnut and clove, and a few others. It's a nice fragrance. It's good. It's straightforward. I like it. It is from the vault. I'm not the expert to say, is this one the exact same as the original mint chocolate? If not, it's quite close, a little more creamy, maybe a bit softer mint. Swap out the chocolate chips for chocolate fudge, but 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, pretty similar. Getting my nose on it though. It's really nice, it's authentic. It is probably the most authentic ice cream candle from all 4 from this collection, certainly, because it does have that soft mint that luckily doesn't lean fresh, mint leaves like, you'd use in a beverage or something. Does not lean toothpaste, does not lean bubble gum. It really is a soft mint like you get in a mint ice cream. There is a fine layer of the sort of bittersweet dark chocolate, like a 60-70% cacao dark chocolate, bittersweet, and a creaminess. Think your Andes mints that you get at the Olive Garden at the end of a meal, just that really creamy, sweet, soft, light mint green, white chocolate mixed with your dark chocolate. There's a milkiness to this that really works well. It's just really nice. I don't fully get milkshake on this, but granted, that's close enough. You want to call it a milkshake, that's fine by me, but I don't so much get like the whipped cream or particularly a milkshake, but I mean, ice cream versus a milkshake. What am I going to sense? Like texture in a fragrance? That would be asking a lot to really get a specific texture of, is this a melted stirred up ice cream versus a nice ball of ice cream in a waffle cone. If they added a waffle cone, obviously that would make it more ice cream, I suppose. It's just straightforward. It's nice. I like it a lot. Not much to say about it. Quite honestly, it's straightforward. If you like mint chocolate fragrances, you will like this one and probably already have it if so. The one I'll compare it to, which it is not a repackage of, not a dupe of, nothing like that, but the closest I have, at least in my collection, is Peppermint Sugar Cookie. This has been around for 3 or 4 years now. Major hit. People tend to love it. I love it. It's probably one of the sweetest candles that I really enjoy when it comes to not just gourmand, but a true straightforward bakery fragrance. Notes on this: crushed peppermint, vanilla extract, creamy butter, and soft sugar cookies. Where these are similar is the mint is of course a quite similar soft, creamy mint that does not lean, as I said, toothpaste, cleaner, chewing gum, floss. Of course, the peppermint sugar cookie does not have the chocolate that you get in the mint chocolate chip milkshake. And there is a really nice, almost like a powdered sugar. They don't call it powdered sugar here, but like a powdered sugar on those soft sugar cookies. This is just it. They nailed this fragrance so well. But if you like it, you probably like one or the other, because if you like mint chocolate, you probably like it whether it's part of a souffle or a sugar cookie or a milkshake or ice cream, right? So big fan of this one for what it is. Not super complex, but super authentic for what it is. So that wraps up my in-depth sniff and comparison review of part 2 of the limited edition ice cream shop launch. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. Why did this happen? Do you like this one? Great if you do. There's probably gonna be a lot of them left over for you to purchase at the store, because I think a lot of folks will probably pass on this once they get their nose on it. Hopefully we'll get some additional fun limited edition drops in the future. There is, again, the fun factor to this in the candle community, Bath & Body Works fans. We are collectors in that sense. We are a marketer's dream. They love us because we love to latch on to limited edition or get in, get out, collect them all, or new or vault, whatever it may be, that sort of scratching the itch for something fun and new. We lean into that excitement and certainly the novelty of something like this. So I would like to see more things like this, but I'd like to see them execute it better, because again, art direction, branding, I think they nailed it on these ones for what it is. Not exactly my aesthetic, but for an ice cream shop, totally appropriate. But some misses with most of the fragrances. In fact, except probably I would say the Vault fragrance. So that is it for now. Let me know what you think, and until next time, take care.